Last weekend, Shane Van Gisbergen did something almost nobody in NASCAR does. He climbed into 3 different cars in 3 different series, all in one weekend. This week at Dover, one of those cars is heading back to the track without him in it. So Shane Van Gisbergen just had one of the best weekends of his entire career. He pulled what they call triple duty at Watkins Glen, racing in all 3 of NASCAR's national series in one weekend. And he didn't just show up, he won the Big Cup race, took 8th place in the Xfinity level race, and grabbed 3rd in the trucks. Out of every single driver who tried that weekend, nobody did better than him. But here's the part that might surprise you. This week at Dover, he's stepping out of one of those cars completely, and somebody else is taking his seat. Let me explain what's going on here, because the news that just got confirmed is a big deal for Trackhouse Racing fans. At Watkins Glen, SVG and both of his Trackhouse Racing Cup teammates all ran in 3 different series across the same weekend. That's a brutal amount of racing for one person. Most drivers stick to one car. These guys ran 3, and like his teammate Connor Zilisch, Van Gisbergen managed to find victory lane. He won the Cup race, finished 8th in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, and came home 3rd in the Craftsman Truck Series race. Add all of that up, and he was simply the best performer of anyone there. Nobody touched what he did. But Dover is a different story. This weekend, Van Gisbergen is going to focus on just one thing, and that's the Cup Series All-Star race. He's not doing triple duty again. He's keeping it simple. So that brings us to the news. SVG's number 4 Nice Motorsports Chevrolet, the truck he drove at Watkins Glen, is not even entered in this weekend's Truck Series race at Dover. It's just not happening. But the number 9 Chevrolet, the car he ran in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, that one is still racing. JR Motorsports is putting it on the track again. And the driver climbing into that seat instead of Van Gisbergen has now been confirmed. It's Ross Chastain. If you follow NASCAR, you know that name. Chastain is the 3rd Trackhouse Racing Cup driver right alongside Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch, and he's no stranger to this lower series. At Watkins Glen, Chastain drove the number 32 Chevrolet for Jordan Anderson Racing and finished a strong 4th. That was his 3rd start in that number 32 car this year, and his 5th start overall in the O'Reilly Series this season. So this is a guy who already knows his way around. This weekend at Dover will be Chastain's 2nd time in the number 9 Chevrolet specifically. The first time he drove it, back in March at Darlington Raceway, he brought it home in 14th. And here's something interesting. Out of all 3 Trackhouse Racing drivers, Chastain is the only one who's racing in more than just the Cup race this weekend. Van Gisbergen is sticking to Cup. Zilisch is sticking to Cup. Chastain is the one pulling the extra shift. Now, you might be wondering, will Van Gisbergen come back to that number 9 car later? The answer is probably yes. Remember, SVG actually won the O'Reilly Series race at Circuit of the Americas back in early March, so he's good in that car. He's expected to return to the series later this season behind the wheel of the number 9, but the exact details, which race, when, that part hasn't been locked in yet. As for Chastain, he's set to be back in his number 32 car at Sonoma Raceway in late June. If you want to watch this weekend's race, it's called the Bet Rivers 200, and it's at Dover Motor Speedway, the track everyone calls the Monster Mile. The CW network has live coverage starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, May 16. Okay, so that's the replacement news, but there's a bigger story here that fans really need to understand, and it's about Van Gisbergen's playoff hopes. Because winning at Watkins Glen sounds like it should solve everything. It doesn't. Here's the thing. Right now, SVG is sitting 16th in the Cup Series point standings after that Watkins Glen win. That's actually better than where he was a year ago, and it's mostly because his racing on oval tracks has gotten a little better. But here's the catch. He is not locked into this year's playoffs. Not even close to guaranteed. Last year, in 2025, when Van Gisbergen won his first race of the season down in Mexico, that win locked him straight into the playoffs. That was the old rule. They called it win and in. Win a race, you're in the postseason. Simple. That rule is gone this year. There is no more win and in. So even though SVG won at Watkins Glen, that victory does not punch his ticket. Instead, he's stuck in an intense points battle just to make the 16-driver postseason. And this is where it gets tough for him. Van Gisbergen is amazing on road courses, the twisty tracks with left and right turns. But most NASCAR races happen on ovals, the regular round tracks. And ovals have always been his weak spot. A year ago, even though he won 4 road and street course races, he finished the regular season 25th in total points. This year, his oval racing is better, but he's still only 22nd in oval points. He sits 71 points outside the top 16 in that category. That's a real gap. Look at what's left on the schedule. There are 12 oval races remaining in the regular season, 1 street course race, and just 1 road course race. That road course is Sonoma, where he won last year, so that's good news for him. The street race is at a brand new track on a naval base in San Diego, California. And since SVG won the very first Chicago street race back in 2023, a new street course could play right into his hands. But here's the problem. Chicago and Mexico, 2 tracks that suited him perfectly, are not on the calendar anymore. So it's far from certain that he can score enough points, especially on those 12 ovals, to stay in the top 16. And those ovals are scary for him. 11 of the 12 remaining oval races were also on last year's schedule. His best finish in any of them last year? Just 14th. He only had 4 other top 20 finishes in that whole group. That's not a lot to build on. There is one thing helping him out. This year, NASCAR gives a bonus of 15 points for winning a race, and that bonus didn't exist last year. It actually matters a lot. If those 15-point bonuses had existed in 2025, Van Gisbergen would have finished the regular season 16th instead of 25th. So if he can win at Sonoma and at that San Diego street race and grab those bonuses, his chances look way better. But the competition is fierce. Besides Van Gisbergen, the 6 other drivers who have won races this season are all sitting inside the top 7 in points. And they'd all be in the top 8 even without the bonus points. So SVG is the odd one out, the only winner who's actually scrambling to make it in. One more thing worth knowing. Even his Watkins Glen win wouldn't have locked him in under last year's rules either, but only because there are 16 playoff spots and 26 regular season races. The old format wasn't truly win and in. Playoff spots went to the regular season champion and the 15 drivers with the most wins. To really lock yourself in this early, you basically needed to win twice. Still, in 12 seasons under that old system, there was never a time when more than 16 drivers won races, not even in 2022, when 19 different drivers reached victory lane. So that's the full picture. Ross Chastain is confirmed to replace Van Gisbergen in the number 9 car at Dover. SVG is focusing only on the Cup All-Star race. And while his Watkins Glen win was huge, his road to the playoffs is still a real fight, with a long stretch of oval tracks standing between him and the postseason.